Biden had been up there giving that speech, men in white coats would have interrupted him and carted him off and put him in a padded wagon. I thought today I would wake up and the TV would be full of like doctors talking about Donald Trump's cognitive decline. I thought it would be full of Republicans hanging their heads in shame like Democrats did. Joe Biden had a bad 90-minute debate. He said it's one episode. That's what we've seen so far. What we saw yesterday was a replay of Trump's 90-minute constant rallies. It's too bad the bandage was just over his ear. It should have been over his mouth.
For me, I have a lot of faith in the American people. And I don't know very many men who want to be talked to the way that this man has been talking to men in his audience. I don't know any women, and I know his grandchild was up on the thing, and they're trying to humanize him and change your idea about who this guy is. Don't fall for that.
Trump, you're talking about. Talking about Trump.
The fighting in the Democrat Party can't stop anytime soon. What I'm observing online is extremely concerning. Recently, The View lost their minds on Chris for refusing to vote for Democrat in 2024 elections. I don't understand why these people can not stand up for the truth. I know very well they cannot vote for a Republican, no matter who is that person. Chris here did something that is shaking up the internet, which I'm going to show you. I'll be reacting, sharing my thought. The View is not happy what he did. I've been observing this guy to actually see his stand. If he were industrial,
It's Christie. Yes. So Gov, you wrote an op-ed piece for the New York Times this week, which I read, and you were wondering if President Trump could meet the moment and strike a unifying tone. Did you watch him last night, and do you think he did that?
Yeah, I look tired, don't I? That means I did watch him last night. No, look, when I wrote the column, I didn't think he'd meet the moment. That was part of the point of the column. Because he is who he is. You know, look, I heard the conversation you guys were having beforehand about the shooting, and there's no question in my mind that if you get shot at, you're affected by it.
You must.
And I am guaranteed that he has been affected by it. He just has been changed by it.
Yeah.
It
Do
is
you think
the
he's in
essence.
shock?
Of course.
He's in
I mean, I
shock.
think anybody would be in
be.
shock that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you get shot and you're not expecting that. But let's not forget that it doesn't change fundamentally who he is. He's 78 years old. And at that age, it is, at least in my human experience, infrequent to find a 78-year-old who changes the core of who they are. And if you needed any further evidence of that, you saw it last night. The people who tried to meet the moment were his staff who wrote that speech. Because when you read just the text of it, it came close to meeting the moment. But more than a third of what he said last night was ad-libbed. And all of the ad-lib was back to what he normally does, which is, this is the grievance against me. This is how horribly I've been treated. Woe is me. But thank God I haven't given up so that I'm still here for all of you. I mean, it's just who he is, and he's not going to change.
You can tell when he's speaking off text. It's very clear.
Oh, yeah, 'cause that's when he's most comfortable. Understand, the first 15 minutes of that, he was as unenthusiastic and as unenergetic as I've ever seen him. Why? Because he hated what he was saying. He hated it. He doesn't believe it. But he knew he had to say it. It was like watching the media coverage the first 3 nights. I wonder if every network correspondent had like taken drugs. Like, they're like, look at him in the audience. He looks more solemn. He looks as if he's changed. He's an actor. He's been acting on TV for decades. And he knew the camera was going to be on him. That's the easy part for Donald Trump. It's when he opens his mouth that the acting becomes more difficult. And so I think, quite frankly, the media this week completely failed the American people. They bought hook, line, and sinker all of the garbage that the Trump campaign was leaking out to them.
Not us.
And reported it. Well, again, present company excluded,
Thank
Joy.
you.
But, you know, the people who are...
Yes, I would disagree with Chris here. Looking at that speech and from the reactions I've seen on social media, people putting out opinions on this, Trump was actually direct to the point. Standing there for 90 minutes actually proves what we have been saying, that he is strong. Someone telling me he was on drugs, he was like this, it is ridiculous. Trump is stronger. If you see The View calling Chris over and over for shows like this, it is because they know that he will come here to bash Trump. But they never expected to see him even responding to this way. When I watched this video, to a certain point, I was thinking Chris will actually be like he used to be. He mentioned here, like he followed along with the speech. He was impressed at a certain point. And The View extremely is not happy with that because they expect that he should talk against Trump even further.
Remember that. They'll just remember what was leading into it and saying, oh, he was unifying.
Yeah.
And when he ultimately spoke, he was not. And the only person angrier than him last night was Eric.
Yeah.
Man.
That screams.
You want to talk about an angry speech from Eric Trump last night. And, you know, if that's what we're looking forward to, people should be concerned.
Well, Governor, we've seen this kind of groundswell of unity after last weekend's shooting, and it was horrifying to hear the news. What was your reaction?
Well, look, I mean, having been in the arena like that and been in front of big crowds where you're never sure exactly what's going to happen, you know, you relate to it immediately on a personal level as someone who's run for president, because you always are thinking about, geez, there are crazy people out in the world, and if they want to make themselves famous, you could be the one to do it. So you immediately react that way, kind of viscerally, personally, and I was glad that, you know, he survived. And
Frankly, you're the last man standing. So let's talk about
that she wants to run for president again in 2028, and she thinks by showing up on that stage that that's going to help her. But
now they're calling Nikki Haley hypocrite. These are same people I used to watch, you know, praising Nikki Haley. She's the only person, she is this. Immediately you tilt away from their political views, or they start calling you names. This same The View. If you go back in some of the videos I reacted, they were praising Nikki Haley because she was going off on Trump. But forget you to know that in politics, you don't do that. There is a certain time of reconciliations and casting of the vote. That is the time people forget about differences. At this time, when I see Christie coming here to talk some kind of way, I don't understand where he belongs. Yeah, he still make it clear here that he will vote for a Republican, never a Democrat. And The View is uncomfortable with that, trying to ask him over and over. You know, they expect him to bash Trump, bash his vice president, but it is not coming out. That is what they have not seen. In politics, these people don't know a lot. You don't play the games on both sides, then you continue to do that throughout. You play yourself, then along the way, you choose a path. Now is the time for Republicans to reconsider, come together and defeat, whether it's Biden or Kamala Harris. All these shows attending is uncalled for. That is what I can say at this point. The View will always be done like they have been. This show should not even exist because they say ridiculous things that if you say the same like they put out here against Democrat, your show will be cut off air. But they say it freely.
I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
For his discussion on getting unity together in the country, as well as the border control and inflation.
Thomas was...
Enough! And I said...
I want you to listen to a little bit of what... Here's where I thought it was lacking. He said the political rhetoric's gotten too hot.
And finally, new rules...
If you looked at the moment that you heard that
Assassination, just to be clear.